Hi guys, welcome back, and we're back to 1908 once again. This is May 3rd, 1908, third of the fourth of the four games we have today, and I think I'm going to end up filming all four of them because after this one, let me take the look at the schedule. It's the Tigers against the Browns, and as you know, the Browns are very much in the hunt of things in the American League. Today we have the Pirates who are playing against the lowly Cincinnati Reds. As you can see, we have it all set up already for you. Pittsburgh, 2.5 games out of first, lost two in a row, and so they've been unable to take advantage of the Cubs, who've also lost two in a row and who faltered a little bit. Chicago, of course, as we saw 2 days ago, has been struggling with the Cardinals. And that was a that was an infamous game with all of the controversy we had, especially at the end of that one. And so we'll see how this one goes here. It's going to be Honus Wagner who starts off against Billy Campbell. Wagner rolls a 12 for a 24. Wagner hitting 306 so far this season, by the way. And the next roll is a 21, which changes it to 19. So that is going to be an error. There'll be an error on the third baseman, Lobert, and Wagner finds a way to get on base. That'll bring up Fred Clark, and of course, right away, we're going to hit and run. Clark rolls a 65 for a 35, and Wagner is able to steal second. So that's one of those numbers you have to worry about because if he has a 10, only if he has a 10, 11, 14 star or 42 star does he steal safely. Fortunately for the Pirates, Wagner does have quite a few 11s on his card, of course, and a 10. And so that means that he's okay and good to go, but that's why you always have to check and make sure. Runner on at second base now with nobody out. Fred Clark still up there. He rolls a 54, and that's a 45 fly ball over to right field, and Mitchell has that for the out, one away. Bring up Tommy Leach, and this is where the lineup falls apart, right, hitting 233. I guess you think of that in terms of modern batting averages, right? Leach rolls a 54 for a 45. Here is that little E roll, and this time it's a 13. And so that's within the error range. It'll change it to 17. That's an error on the right fielder, Mitchell, who has another chance. And that will bring up Ed Abaticio. Now, runners on a first and third, one out, in the top of the first inning. I know that it's a little different, right? People can hit the ball for power today, which he didn't have so much of in 1908. That was a true dead ball era. I mean, Abaticio's slugging percentage is worse than his on-base percentage, and his on-base percentage is not good. He rolls a 55 for an 8, and that's going to be a single to center field. That'll score one, and I'm sorry, no, that's a ground ball to the shortstop, Hulswith, who makes the play, throws over to first for the out, and Leach moves up to second. So there's two outs now. My apologies, and it's a 1-0 game for the Pirates, who don't have a base hit yet. And that'll bring up Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson of fame in 1912 for hitting 36 triples. And he rolls a 46 for a 27, which is a ground ball to Lobert, who throws to first for the out. And we go to the bottom of the first. So two errors on the Reds in that first inning. They give up a run, and they don't give up a single hit. And here is Mike Mitchell. And Mike rolls a 55 for a 9, and there's a base hit for him, and then he's caught stealing because of the little C. One out, and that'll bring up Rudy Hulswith. He rolls a 33 for a 7. That's a single to right field, and that'll bring up John Kane with the runner on at first. And, Kane's hitting third. We're going to change this after this day. This is the Sunday game. I always change the lineups after every week. Kane is hitting 127 with a 200 on-base percentage. Ooh, man. Yeah, so what do we do here? Do we actually swing away with him or bunt? We're going to bunt, because we might as well. He rolls a 54, and there is a little E roll, and that's an 11. Boy, we've had a lot of little E's going on today. That's going to be an error on the shortstop, Honus Wagner, and so Kane is able to make it to first on that bunt. Hulswith goes up to second, and that'll bring up John Gansel. Runners on at first and second, one out. Gansel hitting a little bit more respectably, and 338 slugging percentage is what we like to see. We swing away with him. He rolls a 42 for a 30. It's a quiet fly ball over to Clark in left field, and there's two away, and here now is Hans Lobert. Bottom of the first inning, 1-0 Pirates. Reds with two men on base, two hits in this game. And Lobert rolls a 15 for an 11. That's a single that'll score one, tie up the ball game, send Kane to third, and then Lobert steals second. And that'll bring up Admiral Schley. 3 errors so far in this game, 3 hits, and 2 runs, 1-1, bottom of the first. And Schley with 2 outs rolls a 41 for a 28. That's going to be a ground ball over to Honus Wagner, who makes the play and throws to first for the out. We go to the top of the second. It's Harry Swasina up there for the Pirates. Harry rolls a 21 for a 30, fly ball to left field. Paskert's got that for the out, one away, and it's George Gibson. George rolls a 56 for a 34. Little E rolls up, and it's a 56 out of the range. It's a pop-up to to the shortstop Hulswith. My apologies, wrong team, 2 away, and here's Beals Becker. Beals rolls a 12 for a 25. And the little lead roll is a 54, and so it's going to be a quiet ground ball over to the second baseman, Miller Huggins, who throws to first for the out, and we go to the bottom of the second. Dode Pasker now rolls a 36 for a 32. It's a fly ball to Wilson in right field for the out, one away, and up next is Miller Huggins, who's hitting much better than Kane, hitting third. Huggins, number 8 hitter, rolls a 53 for an 18. That's changed to 21. That's going to be an error this time on the first baseman, Swasina. Error number 4 in this game, both teams combined. We're only in the bottom of the second, and here's Billy Campbell. You know he's going to bunt. And so if Huggins is fast, so if the bunt doesn't work, you could think about a hit and run. But we'll bunt with the pitcher. He rolls a 62 for a 12, and that's not what you want to roll. It's a bunt to the left side, but not a particularly good one. Leach grabs it and throws over to Honus Wagner, covering at second. They get the lead runner, and now you have Billy Campbell on at first with 2 outs here for Mike Mitchell. Mitchell, leadoff hitter, hitting 282's his on-base percentage. Not so great. He rolls a 23 for a 32. It's a fly ball over to center field, and the center fielder Becker's got that for the out. We go to the top of the third inning. Nick Maddox up there, the pitcher, and Maddox hitting respectable 364 in his 11 plate appearances. Rolls a 22 for a 7, so he'll add to that total, and that'll bring up Honus Wagner with the runner on at first. Wagner hitting 302, 371 on base percentage, and of course with the slugging, and we know what a great year he had in real life in 1908. His roll is a 35 for an 8. That's a single left center field, and that drops in there. Maddox moves to second, and Wagner's on at first. 2 hits here for the Pirates, who were being no-hit for a little while, and that'll bring up Fred Clark. Clark's going to swing away, of course, hitting quite well so far this season, but this time not so much. He rolls a 24 for a 13 and strikes out, 1 away, and that'll bring up Tommy Leach. Leach hitting 230, but with that 432 slugging percentage. We were talking online the other day about guys who have about a 200 average, maybe 460, 470 slugging percentage, and like a 360 or so on base percentage, which is Joey Gallo, if you're paying attention to baseball today with the Twins. Leach is not quite hitting there, but he could get to that point if he'd walk more. And this time he rolls a 13 for a 14, and that's a ball. I was going to say right on cue, but he just takes a ball because of Campbell's Z. And there's 1 ball on him. Still runners on first and second, 1 out. Rolls a 45 for a 14. So I guess I said the magic words. 2 balls now on him. He rolls a 16 for a 26. That's a little pop-up over to Huggins, the second baseman, for the second out, and that'll bring up Abaticio. The Pirates looked like they were going to really make something happen here, and then they've kind of deflated. Abaticio rolls a 44 for an 8, and that's going to be a single, and that will score 1 runner, send 1 to third, and then Abaticio, because that little C is thrown out stealing. We go to the bottom of the third. That's that magic, by the way, of the little C, right? You want to have the little C on because it will make sure that your score keeps in the boundaries that it needs to stay in, because there's always that chance of being thrown out, caught stealing. So we go to the bottom of the third. Quite realistic, I would add. Here's Rudy Holtzwit, and he rolls a 45 for a 14, and he walks. And so he'll show you how to take that walk. Hopefully Leach is paying attention. John Kane up there now with the runner on at first base. He rolls a 31 for a 14, and there's another walk. 2 walks given up now by Nick Maddox in this inning. That'll bring up John Gansel. Kane, of course, who was just up, is the guy who wasn't hitting at all, but he could take the walk, so it's all good. Gansel now rolls a 44 for a 7. That's a base hit. That'll score 1, send 1 to third. Actually, they won't score the 1, I'm sorry, because of the S rating. Holtzwit is a slow runner, and so as a result, Clark is able to throw him out of the plate. Runner's now on at second and third with 1 out, and that'll bring up Hans Lobert, who's hitting only 203, pretty woeful percentage. We're going to keep the infield back because of how early it is, only the bottom of the third inning. Lobert up there rolls, swings away, rolls a 35 for a 9, and that's a fly ball over to right field, and it's Wilson who has that one for the out. That will score 1 as Kane comes in from third, and it's a tie ball game again. And here is Admiral Schley. Runner on a third base, 2 outs, bottom of the third, and Schley rolls a 22 for a 7. That's a base hit to left field, and that'll score the runner. Nick Maddox not pitching as well as he could. Dode Pasker up there now with the runner on at first. He rolls a 13 for a 14. That's a 3rd walk given up by the Pirates in this inning, and that'll bring up Miller Huggins. And the Reds are all coming up to hit here. 3-2 is the score. Reds are out hitting the Pirates and being walked all over the park. And Huggins rolls a 15 for an 11, and that's a single that will score 1, send Pasker to third. Huggins then steals second on the next pitch. And that'll bring up Billy Campbell again. So it's a 4-2 game now in favor of the Reds. And here's Campbell with 2 on and 2 out. He'll swing away, and he rolls a 52 for a 27. A card like that, you're lucky if you can get a base hit anywhere. It's a ground ball to Leach, who makes the play, throws it first for the out. I tell you, with a card like what Campbell has, I mean, you know, you might have a hard time getting a hit in Rookie League ball. Here's Chief Wilson. Wilson rolls a 54 for a 45, and there's a little E-roll. It's a 54, and that means it's a fly ball over to right field, and right fielder Mitchell has that for the out, one away, and it's Harry Swasina up there now. He rolls a 26 for a 30. That's a fly ball to left field this time. Dode Paskert's got that, 2 away, and George Gibson comes up there. Gibson rolls a 16 for a 26. It's a ground ball to Huggins, and he throws over to first for the out, and we go to the bottom of the 4th. Quiet for the Pirates, and here comes Mike Mitchell. Remember, the Reds had been underperforming this season and had gone so far without winning anything, and they seem to be on a roll now. Mitchell rolls a 64 for a 13 and strikes out, so Maddox finally able to get the ball in the strike zone. 1 away, and here's Holtzwood. He rolls a 35 for a 39. That's going to be a strike. Next rolls a 56 for a 34. It's a pop-up over to Honus Wagner to the shortstop for the second out, and that'll bring up John Kane. Kane, I mean, he's hitting third. He has 1 RBI. We're not going to hit him third anymore. Rolls a 46 for a 29. It's a comebacker over to Maddox, who throws to first for the out. We go to the top of the 5th. Beals Becker now to lead this off for the Pirates. Becker rolls a 35 for a 13 and strikes out, 1 away, and that'll bring up Nick Maddox. Maddox up there hitting 417, hitting way over his head with his all 12 plate appearances he's had. He rolls a 62 for a 12. Now keep that in mind when you're happy about somebody, what they're doing in April. Think of Nick Maddox. The little league rolls the 32 out of the range. That's a ground ball over to Gansel at first base, and he does it to the bag himself, 2 away, and here's Honus Wagner. Wagner today, 1 for 2. Of course, the at-bat that he didn't get a hit on was an error, so he's been up and on base twice and has a stolen base. And he rolls a 25 for 11, so that's a base hit for Wagner, and he will steal second on that one, and that makes him the runner on his second base with 2 outs here now on the top of the 5th. Fred Clark up there rolls a 44 for an 8, and that's going to be a single. That will score 1, but the little C gets them again, and so Wagner scores, and that Clark then thrown out trying to steal. We go to the bottom of the 5th. It's a 4-3 ball game. John Gansel will come up here for the Cincinnati Reds. 4-3 tight ball game. Nick Maddox not pitching as well as he's accustomed to. 4.01 ERA so far for Maddox. The batted against average is pretty good, but not 1908 good. Gansel's rolls a 54 for a 45, and that's a fly ball to Owen Wilson in right field for the first out. Hans Lobert now is the batter. Lobert rolls a 66 for a 0, and the second roll is a 31 for a 2. So Lobert ends up getting the big base hit, a triple. Remember the other game where we had the guy with 2 triples, and it was so surprising? Well, there's 1, and that'll bring up Admiral Schley. Schley last time up got the base hit and an RBI, 1 for 2 today, hitting 227 with really no power at all. You have to really squeeze it in there to get one of those 2 zeros. Otherwise, there's no way to get an extra base hit for him. Schley, the catcher, not known for his bat, rolls a 22 for a 7, and that's a single to left field again, and that scores the runner, makes it a 5-3 ball game, and that'll bring up Dode Paskert. Paskert comes up there and got the runner on at first base and a 2-run lead, and we'll see what he can do. He rolls a 61 for a 27. That's a ground ball over to the third baseman, Leach, who goes to Abaticio for 1. But the throw to first base not in time, and there's 2 away. And here's Miller Huggins again. Huggins, like Wagner was earlier, has 1 for 2. But the 2, so the base hit, the time up, he didn't get the base hit, was an error. Still only 4 errors in this ball game. There were 4 before we were done with the second inning. Huggins rolls a 61 for a 36. It's changed to a 40, and that's going to be a ground ball over to the first baseman, Swasina, who takes it to the bag himself. And we go quietly to the top of the 6th inning, and it's Tommy Leach up there to lead this off. Tommy rolls a 24 for a 13, and that's a strikeout. And Leach is the 3rd strikeout for Billy Campbell. 1 away, top of the 6th. It's Ed Abaticio up there now, who's 1 for 2 today. 2 runs batted in, 1 on a ground ball and 1 on a single. And he rolls a 33 for a 7. That'll be a single to right field this time. So another hit there for Abaticio, and that'll bring up Owen Wilson. Runner on at first base. Abaticio slow. We're not going to do any funny business with him. And Wilson's rolls a 45 for a 14, but that Z will stop him in his tracks. There's a ball to Owen. And the next one's a 66 for a 0. Let's see where this one winds up. Rolls a 12 for an 11, so that's a single for Wilson. It sends Abaticio to third. He then steals second base. That'll bring up Harry Swasina here, top of the 6th inning, 5-3 ball game. Swasina having a hard time getting any sort of hit, and you don't really want to bunt with the slow Abaticio on a third. The question is, do we move the infield back or keep the infield back or move it in? I think we do move it in this situation, not because of a bunt, but because you want to cut off that potential run at the plate. And the roll here is a 43 for a 29, so it's all academic. It's a ground ball to Campbell. He throws to first for the out, 2 away. That'll bring up George Gibson now. Gibson hitting 254, a little bit better than Swasina, but 0 for 2 today. He rolls a 41 for a 28. That's a ground ball over to the shortstop. Holswood goes to first with it for the out. And we'll go to the bottom of the 6th inning. 5-3 ball game so far for the Reds, who are playing a lot better as of late. Billy Campbell up there. He rolls a 22 for a 9. It's a pop-up over to the left side, and Tommy Leach has that for the out. 1 away, and it's Mike Mitchell now. Mike Mitchell is 1 for 3 today. That single didn't go far, though, when he was caught stealing right afterwards. That was the beginning of the ball game, and he rolls a 44 for an 8, and that's another single for him, and he's caught stealing again. I tell you, this C here, this little C there, this little C there, you know. So it is. So it is. That's the stuff that breaks your heart. 2 away, Rudy Holswood. Rolls a 62 for a 27. That'll be a ground. I'm sorry, 62 for a 12. I'm not sure why it's a 61. This 27, 62 for a 12. Ground ball over to Swasina, who does it to the bag himself, and we go to the top of the 7th. This will be Beals Becker up here for the Pirates. And he rolls a 35 for a 13 and strikes out. 1 away. 4th strikeout for Billy Campbell. Is having a good game. That'll bring up Nick Maddox, the pitcher, who was also having a good game. 1 for 2. And he rolls a 31 for a 9. That'll be a pop-up over to Lobert, the third baseman, for the second out. And here's Honus Wagner. Wagner rolls an 11 for a 2. How about that? That 2 sitting right up there where a 0 normally lands, and that's a big triple for Big Honus. Puts him on a third base with 2 outs here in the top of the 7th inning, and that brings up Fred Clark, who's 1 for 3. And Clark rolls a 54 for a 45. So Fred, it looks like, is unable to get it done. Yeah, the little E rolls a 35 out of the range. He hits a little quiet fly ball to Mitchell in right field. Unable to do it, and we go to the bottom of the 7th, and it'll be John Kane to lead this off. Kane, so far today, 0 for 1, and gone on with a walk. Now, he did get on on an error as well. That was that time that he tried to bunt, as you'll remember. And it ended up being an error on the first base or on the pitcher. Kane this time rolls a 33 for an 8, which is a single to left center field. He shows me that he can hit the ball, and he's the runner at first base now with John Gansel coming up. Now, does Kane have wheels? He does have wheels. So let's turn those wheels and get him going. The roll here is a 62 for a 12, and that's a hit and run ground ball over to second base. Albaticcio has it, throws to first for the out, but Kane moves up to second. 1 away, and it's Hans Lobert, runner on his second base. And Lobert rolls a 21 for a 30. It's a fly ball over to Clark in left field, and he's got that one quietly, 2 away for Admiral Schley. Schley rolls a 66 for a 0. The second roll is a 23 for a 6. There is a chance at a home run. And his roll's a 24, which isn't quite there. It'll be a double for Schley. That'll score Kane. It's a 6-3 ball game. And that brings up now Dode Paskert. So Nick Maddox getting hit all over the park here. And Paskert rolls a 35 for a 40. Changed to 38. That's going to be a single between short and third. And Schley does go up to third base. Paskert is the runner on at first. And that'll bring up Miller Huggins again in another clutch situation. Huggins, 203 batting average and no power to speak of at all. We are going to keep Nick Maddox in this game for the time being. But if something happens here, he will be out. And something might happen. It's a 31 for a 9. That's a single over short. Remember that 9 with the C on the mound in that situation, runners on at first and third, ends up being a base hit. Huggins drives in the run, and it's a 7-3 ball game. That's all from Nick Maddox, so we're not going to be able to stand seeing much more of him. There's the display card button. Let's see. We don't want to put Kamnitz in. We don't want to put Liefeld in. Philippi, maybe. We don't want to put Willis in. It's either Philippi or Young. I think Young is the guy who we probably want to put into this ball game. We're not quite to Philippi time yet. Now I know that in real life he probably would be, in there pitching, because he hadn't. I mean, nobody knew that he'd fallen apart as a player. But in this replay, we always play to win. That's the rule. We always try to play to win with one team or the other. And 4-run disadvantage, I don't know, maybe we do put him in after he has his turn at bat. But for right now, it's going to be Young. Harley Young comes up there. 2 innings pitched so far this season, 429 batted against average, which does not bode well. He's up against Billy Campbell with 2 outs. Campbell rolls a 45 for a 14. That's a ball because of the Z, so that's a good thing. Next roll is a 51 for a 22. It changed to an 18, which is going to be a single through short. So Campbell gets the base hit. That scores 1. Huggins goes over to third base. It's an 8-3 ball game. And here comes Mike Mitchell again. So the Reds are really turning it on. 8-3 the score here, bottom of the 7th. The Reds have 14 hits in this game. And like I always say, are you sure this is the dead ball era? Mike Mitchell up there rolls a 43 for a 29. That's a comebacker over to Young, the pitcher, who throws to first for the out. We go to the top of the 8th. So what was once a close game is now totally blown open. 5-run lead for the Reds, and here's Tommy Leach for the Pirates. He rolls a 16 for a 26. It's a ground ball to Huggins, who throws to first for the out, one away. Batisho rolls a 44 for an 8. That's going to be a single. Little C gets you again. The Pirates have been cut down by the little C so many times. 2 away now, and they're a little too aggressive on the base pass. Here's Wilson, who rolls a 33 for a 7, and he'll be content with his one base. Hit number 10 for Pittsburgh. And that brings up Harry Swasina. And we're not going to do anything funny here. Swasina rolls a 55 for an 8, and so that is a single for him, and that will send Wilson to third. Hit number 11 for the Pirates. 25 hits in this ballgame. That'll bring up George Gibson, and we may come to Young's position quickly. Let's see what happens. Gibson today 0 for 3, hitting 250. His roll's a 45. That will be a 14 for a walk because the Z doesn't help you with runners on a first and third. See, I remember the APBA senses are still in me. It haven't left me yet. That'll bring up Beals Becker now, and bases are loaded here, and the Pirates do have a chance to get back in this ball game. Becker rolls a 14 for a 43, and that's going to be a fly ball over to left field, and Paskert has that for the out. We go to the bottom of the 8th. And so both teams really ruining their chances. 8 men left on, but man, the Reds with 8 runs compared to the Pirates 3, and that's where it counts. Rudy Holswit rolls a 61 for a 27. That's a ground ball over to the third baseman Leach, who makes the play, throws to first for the out, 1 away. John Kane rolls a 26 for a 27. That's another one to Leach, another easy catch and throw, 2 away, and it's John Gansel. John rolls at 63 for a 31, and it's a fly ball over to center field, and Becker's got that for the out, and that'll bring up Harley Young's spot. And, of course, as I promised, we're not going to have him hit for himself. We'd be foolish to do that. We'd be remiss to do that. Question is, do we want Warren Gill or do we want Charlie Starr? I prefer Charlie Starr because I wrote about him. But I don't know. Maybe Warren Gill would be the one. I just realized here that it does tell you last 2 at-bat, last 12 at-bat. So you can see some information, right? This guy Shaw has no at-bats. I'm not going to put him in. That's ridiculous. We're going to put in Warren Gill. We want to try to win. We want to try to win, not try to play every player. If the guy doesn't get to play, he doesn't get to play. I'm sorry. Warren Gill comes in for the Pirates, down by 5, top of the 9th. And he rolls a 65 for a 35, and there's a little lead roll. It's going to be a 22. That's in the range, and so that's going to be an error on the pitcher Campbell. Billy trying to throw the complete game, and he makes error number 3 for the Reds. And that brings up Mr. Danger. That's Honus Wagner comes up. He's 3 for 4 today, but that time that he supposedly made out was actually an error. He's been on all 4 times, hitting 333 now. That average is skyrocketing. And Wagner rolls a 65 for a 35. There's a little E roll. It's a 41, so that's outside the range, and that's a pop-up over to the catcher, Admiral Schley, who has that for the out, 1 away. Here's Fred Clark. And Clark rolls a 31 for a 9, and that's a ground ball over to the left side. Hans Lobert has that, throws to first for the out. Warren Gill moves up to second, 2 away. That'll bring up Tommy Leach. And Tommy Leach, we'll see what he does. He rolls a 54 for a 45, and there is that little E roll coming up again. This time it's a 24 again, out of the range, and that's a fly ball over to center field. Kane has that for the out. There's your ball game. So the Reds win this one 8-3, and they win it in somewhat spectacular fashion with a really big 3-run 7th inning. 25 hits combined from both teams in this game, 5 errors combined, and we do ask ourselves if this truly, really is 1908. Hope you enjoy this one, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.